We'll go ahead and begin as we usually do with a moment of silence. Thank you. Rick? It was floating last time, I think.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, review and adoption of the agenda when you're ready.
Mayor, we do have an addition,
Okay.
a uniform guidance policy for purchasing. Council should have it at your, station. But let's add it as 7H and then move everything else down.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the addition of the procurement policy.
All in favor? Thank you. Approval of minutes, July 24th, 2023, regular meeting minutes, August 17th, 2023, special meeting minutes. I believe everybody was here, but yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 24th regular meeting minutes and August 17th special meeting minutes.
All in favor? Thank you. Public comments?
We have two, each has 3 minutes. First, Pastor Karen O'Donnell.
Good evening. I'm here to tell you that we are having our 120th anniversary on September 17th at our church. We've been part of this community for 120 years, and we are so grateful to be part of this community where we have been able to link up with and help walk and roll people, work with East Burke Christian Ministries, work on the festival. It's meaningful for us to do ministry in such a welcoming setting. And so I want to give each of you an invitation. I do know that you have your own churches, but if you'd like to stop in for our anniversary, we'd love it. If you can't make it for the service, come for the meal after about 12 o'clock, and we'll feed you well. Now, you can get these people out of town.
Okay, Ms. Danielle Woodcock.
Well, that's a hard one to follow. Hers is positive. This may be something that you guys are already aware of or has been addressed. This is my first council meeting, so I'm not sure if it's been touched upon. But I am a concerned citizen with the graffiti, the trash, the needles on the road, and I just kind of want to bring that to attention. I live right in town, close to Terry, actually at the corner by BB&T. And I want to know what we're doing about it, or if we're taking preventative actions, or if we thought, I know they've cleared some bushes in Hickory, and it's been very effective at kind of cleaning the trash up under the bypass. But basically, I feel like our town, at first look and appearance, is kind of going downhill and is not very appealing to citizens as well as people passing through, which then you lose, income as far as tourism and stuff like that. So I just kind of wanted to address that. I think you're a little limited on what you can do about a homeless situation, but there are certainly cleanups we can do in the area. And I've lived here for 16 or 17 years now, and it's like the past 2 years is the first time I've not felt safe walking in my neighborhood at night. And I certainly wouldn't want a kid picking up a needle on the side of the road. So I just want to, has it been addressed or has it been spoken about? I generally don't voice a lot of concern, but it's becoming worse and worse. So that's all I have to say. Do people respond to you or no? Like I said,
Not
I never.
Well, they're not supposed to.
Oh, you're not supposed to.
Thank
I'm
you
sorry,
for
I've
bringing
never
this
been to one of these. Well, okay.
I have a question. I can ask a question. You say needles on?
Yes, I walk my
Oh,
dogs
like-
almost every day.
Okay.
And we see needles from time to time, and there's, that park certainly attracts a certain demographic. I go running on the weekends, and I always see homeless people. Really, really bothering me is the trash and the graffiti, and it's only our exit, so like, why? I don't
I just
understand
didn't
it,
make
what
that
we're doing.
connection.
Yeah, no, it definitely has to do with the homeless population, maybe the apartments, because I feel like there is certainly drugs sometimes moving. I've seen suspicious activity being on the main road, so, it's concerning to me, and it's certainly, I have 1 foot out the door in this town. I've been in here a long time. And I love neighbors like Terry and like my direct neighbors, they're fantastic. But you go beyond that, it's not really, accommodating or safe for somewhere you really want to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make one comment, I'm not supposed to, but I have addressed the park situation
Okay,
quite a few times.
I know we've kind of discussed, yeah, it is concerning, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, that's all public comments. 6, old business. 6A, memo on town projects and facilities. What
Yeah,
has that?
we wanted to provide an update with where we're at with, Royal Park. So council and staff met with West Consultants last week to discuss Royal Park's design, amenities, expected costs, the timeline for construction, and, the grants. So in terms of design and amenities, not a lot's changed there. It will consist of a walking track, splash pad, with about 5 features, roughly, a musical play area with 4 to 7 amenities, ADA accessible, an amphitheater with electrical for bands and hookups, a pavilion with standard seating and ADA accessible seating, a new restroom and concessions building with roughly 11 toilets and urinals, 2 service windows, as well as trees, branches, benches, and waste receptacles. The trees got me there. Council affirmed the design roughly 2 weeks ago and the amenities during their special meeting. To comply with Part F grant, the town must install all of those amenities that we agreed upon early on. So then when Wes came by, we reviewed the expected cost. So currently Royal Park is estimated to be roughly 1.2 to 1.5 million. Early on, that estimate was around 750,000, so it's almost double. The one thing about that is it does not include the tower costs. So whatever the tower is, that would be in addition to the 1.2 to 1.5. With that, we do have $290,000 in grant funds from the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund. We would like to thank Beth Holly. She's been a big piece of that, a big part of that. And then we have $640,000 in ARPA funds that we've received. So we've offset a little bit, approximately $930,000, but the out-of-pocket costs are about $270 to $570 estimated. Now, we don't have a bid yet for construction, so we don't know for sure, but it's gonna be somewhere in that range. And then I think everybody in town wants to know when we're gonna get started. If you're a council member, have you heard that question? Yeah. So timeline for construction, we did meet with West Consultants. They are advising that we do about 14 months for construction. If you assume we can get an acceptable bid in October of this year, the 14-month timeline would begin in December of this year, and that would put us at about March of 25 being done with construction of the park. Given the new timeline expectations, council will need a grant extension from Part F. Our current grant deadline expires in January of 2025. West Consultants at our special meeting did advise that we do a 1-year extension, giving us until January of 26. I don't think we'll need that, but just in case. The plan is to not use all that time. Anyway, so they plan to have a bid sometime in October for council to review. From a contractor, that's the expectation. Give them a month in November, get everything ready, their insurances, their licenses, bonding, things like that. And then start in December of this year. So that's the current plan. Then the only other project I wanted to mention is we did get $349,000 from the Rural Transformation Grant Fund. $300,000 for construction, and then $49,500 for planning work that's associated with it. And then we currently have $150,000 in SCIF funds that we were given to by the state. The expected cost for the auditorium, though, do estimate to be about $826,000. So we're about $326 short, just as an FYI. So we do have quite a bit of out-of-pocket costs committed to these two projects, but we are looking for additional funding with the auditorium. That's all.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. 7A, presentation on the progress of the Hildebran portion of the Burke River Trail. Johnny Weir, Allison Adams, Western Piedmont Council of Government.
This was a brainchild of Representative Blackwell and Beth Hiley, who worked together to try to get this Burke River Trail started, get it off the ground. So we worked with Beth a couple of years ago and did an alignment study, and I'll go into some of that in a minute. And more recently, Representative Blackwell was able to obtain some funding to get parts of the trail on the ground, as well as some feasibility studies for each of the local governments that it crosses over. So this is the feasibility study that this was part of those funds. You guys are actually getting two for the price of one, because you actually have another feasibility study that's getting done by the DOT that Beth applied for, and now the COG working through the DO and DOT is working to get that completed as well. This does reference that study. You want to turn to the table of contents. I'm just going to run through it real quick and kind of tell you what to expect from each section. Let's see, the table of contents is just on the back cover. So, of course, there's an executive summary, kind of giving the overview of the trail. The project purpose and background. We did have some public input meetings in each of those local governments that Beth headed up. We go into Burke County demographics, Lake Road watershed, adjacent trails and linkages, which is on page 11. I'll just point that out, that it shows you how the Burke Trail aligns with the Wilderness Gateway State Trail and the Over Mountain Victory Trail and the Fonda Fuller State Trail. So part of that larger trail network that they're trying to put together. The prioritization of the study that we did a couple years ago, that is on page 18, and kind of goes over our overview of methodology and the final scoring results, where we prioritize the best path as well as priority parcels that would need to be looked at for trail easements or pretty simple obtaining the properties. Simple. Then chapter 4 kind of goes through the alternatives and alignments for each of the municipalities. Not as much for the Morganton, but through Drexel, Valdez, Rutherford College, Conley Springs, Rhodhiss, Longview, and then finally the Hildebran. Just so you kind of have an overview of everything that's going on with the trail and what other parts of the trail look like. Finally, specifically for Hildebran, chapter 5 is the Hildebran trail alignments and cost estimates. There's a list of things here that the DOT likes to see in their feasibility studies. So a lot of this may seem kind of odd to have in there, but it's what they want to see when they're looking at these trails. This includes transportation projects that are nearby, what are your land use, public services, your potential contaminant sites. That would include your underground storage tanks, animal operations, etc. Your historic resources, your natural heritage inventory. So that is areas that have been surveyed by ecologists and biologists and experts in the field, and are determined to have areas of that may have plant life, animal life, some endangered species list. Wetlands and water bodies, of course, topography, and then a field inventory, showing places on the map, where pictures have been taken. And finally, page 510 is their Hildebran River Trail alignment, and this is kind of where I go into a breakdown of the feasibility portion of it. I'm not an engineer, I'm a planner, so what I did was I used a set of spreadsheets to determine what possible costs would be. So if you were to go and look for a grant for portions of it, you kind of have an idea of what you're looking at as far as the costs. This is a formula that other trail groups around the United States use. But if you were to go and try to get some trail constructed, it would be better to have an engineer probably give you some kind of definite cost. Let's see, on page 74, the first section of your trail is actually the one I mentioned. It's on the DOT study. That blue section, there's a 3-mile study route along that trail, and that is the area that they're going to be looking at and coming up with a separate feasibility study, probably more detailed than this one. Of course, like I said, Beth wrote that grant, and we got that grant, and it's in process now. I don't know exactly when. Since the project is set to begin in late 2023, I know they've had a couple meetings, but I haven't been involved in that particular set of meetings. The second part of the Hildebran River Trail is on page 76. So there's some side path alignment cost estimates and natural surface alignment cost estimates. Page 78, finally, is your recommendations. This is a list of recommendations that can be used in obtaining funding in the future. Major purpose of this feasibility study is it also acts kind of like a plan in that you can use it to obtain grant funding. So anytime you're looking for grant funds, if you have it in an adopted document, then it makes it much easier to obtain those funds. If you have things in the future, come down the road and you'd like to see added to the plan, we can easily add it and re-adopt it before you apply for some type of funding. So keep that in mind as well. We're right down the road and can amend it. And that's it. That's the plan. Beth will still be working and be the point person on the trail planning. And if you need any assistance with any grants, we're available. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, 7B. This is the part of the meeting we've been anxiously waiting for. Where are they? Okay, Jim Jackman and the Eastburg Youth are not here. Okay, so I guess we'll go on over that one then. Okay. 7C, appointment planning board member to fulfill vacant position that expires June 30th of 2025.
I understand that someone has brought up that they thought the applications were open until the end of August. So I would request that we table the vote and accept the application for 2 to 3 more weeks.
Thinking about that, my concern is people who've already been in for, we've got 3 qualified candidates who made it in on time. And I don't know if it would be fair to them to rush through this and then somebody have more time. So my concern is being fair to the people who've already put in. We do have qualified candidates, so maybe this person can apply in the future.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council?
I originally thought it was till the end of the night.
Well, the other people that hadn't applied, they may be qualified too. Just didn't know. I'd say give them some time.
All right, I'm looking for a motion, I guess. All right.
I make a motion to table the vote.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed?
we put a hard deadline so that,
What's the last day, 31st?
How much time do you need before the next council meeting?
at least a week is when the agenda packets go out.
Okay, so can we do the day?
The Friday before then, because I put them out on Monday, so Mondays I'm really working on it, so if we can have them in the Friday before.
Well, why don't we go for Thursday, so you've got
Okay,
another day?
alright.
Thursday, what will that be? Thursday, the 21st. 5 PM, 11 PM. What's the time? 5 PM.
The meeting will be on the 25th,
Yeah, so it needs to be the
The week before?
14th.
14th.
You know for sure that this will be the last of the deadlines because, say within a month, somebody comes in and says, well, I didn't notice it, so we better keep putting it off each month. Something to consider, you know, I really think it is.
All right, so we've got that date locked down?
Yeah.
Okay. 7D, consider approval of proposal for exterior gym lighting, exterior town hall lighting, and approval of budget amendment. Lloyd, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, so for 7D, it's mainly for the gym. So, we did receive some requests from Eastburg Youth to replace the lighting on the side of the building. We do have a street light that lights the entrance, but they had requested that we have a light directly underneath the entrance, and it doesn't work at this point, but I think that number is what, roughly 7,000? $8,044. So what that would do is they have already capped that electrical fuse that Eastbrook Youth brought up. So that's capped. There is no chance of fire. There is no chance of a burnout. It is capped off. There's no electricity running to it. But to run lights that work along the side of the building and replace those and replace the ones that are directly over the doors, they are going to have to run a new line, a new electrical line to that, and they'll put that on the same fuse box that they have now. But to do all that, replace all the lights and run and do all the labor is going to be $8,044. So if we did want to do that, me and Ray brought it to you tonight because that would eat up a huge chunk of our maintenance budget. So if you do approve, number one, I don't have any ability over 5,000 to approve it, so you have to approve those. And then number two, we'd want to replenish the maintenance line item for the rest of the year, given how early we are into the year.
Does the electric light work?
It does. It does.
The electrical
Well, there's
upgrade,
no lights on the side of the building, do they? They can see to get in and out the door, I don't see why spend this money.
the electrical upgrades that they're talking about, is that going to include any future upgrades, you know, like future cameras and sources for power for the amphitheater or the?
Not at this time. Now, whether they could run it
That's
off
what
of
it'll
it,
take to run the lights.
yes.
Minimum wire for it.
Is this gonna affect the, all over, could this be tied in with the park? With the lighting?
No, the
Okay,
lighting for it, no, it would be, that'd be more Duke Energy. There might be some certain electrical things you could run, but then the other issue that comes up with that is with your grant funding, the way Rick has to submit the reimbursements and how we have to get the contractor to send that out. It'd be easier just to go and do it
Okay.
separate.
I might have missed, where'd you say the lighting was gonna be, where they said that the lighting would be needed, was it on the sides or?
So, the main, I think it's 4 entrance doors. You have 2 or 3 lights underneath that need to be replaced. However, the electricity that's running to it doesn't make it. So they want to run the new line to it, but there's also 2 lights on the side of the gym, like actually on the brick wall. So to replace all of them, you might as well just go ahead and do it one swoop. If you're gonna do it, replace them all. I'd give you 2 on the side of the gym and the lights underneath the entrance door.
I said, can get in and out, they don't leave them on the sides. They get in and out the street light, but right now, we don't really spend that money.
No, we got a lot of money going out.
We got money going out, that's just something, they come up every week or every meeting or something. Blah, 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 tired of here. Much money we spend on that gym, they can't be that much wrong with.
All right, if that's a consensus,
We can either vote it down or table it. It's up to you.
so
I
we
mean,
have to
I,
make a
the
motion.
quote probably won't say give more than 30 days, I wouldn't say. No, are you, just read, so are you agreeing to any of the work, none of the work? It's probably none of the work at this point.
Something we don't need, I don't wanna hear it.
Have the lights, do they work in front of the door?
No.
They do not work in front of them. That one needs some security lights there. That I don't know about on the side of the building, but we don't want anybody tripping or kind of vibes or somebody hanging out.
That's what I said, if they can see to get in
If
now.
they can see in, if the lights aren't working, then we'll need to fix it, at least fix those 3 lights.
What's the difference in fixing the 3 lights, not adding the lights out the side?
Don't know that I can get you that. Do you want to approve up to 8, but only allow staff to do the work for the ones underneath the entrance
The existing
canopy?
lights. The existing lights, just have them.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, the 2 on the side of the gym are existing. So you've got the gym wall, the outside wall, and there's just 2 lights on it. Then you get on down to the entrance, there's a canopy with lights under it. We want to just do the ones under the canopy, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'd say fix
Water,
those.
a big bulb though, I mean, if you don't 60-watt bulb, we'll put them in there. Whatever. I'm just saying, that's an awful lot of money to get 3 lights put in.
You'll send out the bids on this, so, right?
It is. Well, you can either get them or Conley Springs Electric to bid it, but currently the only ones that come out to bidding thing are Hickory Electric. It's a small job.
It's hard to get an electrician. I learned that.
Call Alex Britt.
Okay. He's busy too.
Lay some out there won't take a gun.
Alex done some things for the town though, he's come out and done
That's ridiculous,
several
$3,000.
$1,000 for
That's
it. Be local.
We definitely need lights for security, especially at the entrance, whether we have.
Well, I mean, that'll be fine, but I mean, we find somebody gonna rip it off, ain't no way they cost $8,000.
Yeah, we should be able to shop it out.
I understand it could be 2,500 or something, but $8,000, somebody just trying to stick one in, they rip us off. I just play funny, they're trying to stick one in, I mean,
Do we want
that's a
to,
rip off.
do you want to put that in a motion anyway? I can't spend over 5, so it's up to y'all if we approve
But
anything.
most, somebody put it in and give us a decent price instead of trying to rob us, yeah, I'll vote for it. Well, I ain't voting for, not that, that's ridiculous. You buy that wire wrap around that gym 15 times for that kind of money. And have it put up.
So we want to make a motion to do the 3 entrance lights and include the 2 side lights as long as we're pricing out. And if we get better pricing on the material. Or, and maybe we could do just the entrance lights and then the secondary part of it would be the side lights or something like that. And if we get a great price on it later while we're here. Otherwise, we're gonna have 2 lights we're gonna come back to sometime in the future.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that a motion to, price it out, send it out to as many electricians as you can. Up to the total number of fixtures, but especially the prime part of the entrance out here. That way we can, if it's too high, then we can just pick between one of them, pick the entrance lights and not worry about the side lights. So I think, I'm like Mike, I think we can get a better price on it,
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a limit on it, something. I mean, you want to bid on it unless it come up to a price. I mean, that judge, I mean, you buy the lights and everything, but I mean, what watt bulbs are they? Is it just regular 60-watt bulbs?
LED.
Well, it costs a bit more, but I'm just saying. I mean, what's this? Are we paying for a street light that doesn't work? I mean, I'm just asking, I don't know. But I mean, if it's only 3 little 60-watt bulbs put in there, that's crazy. But I mean, do they put out that much light when they're working?
No, I think the majority of the work is gonna be getting into the building itself, into the wall. They're gonna have to redo the connection and then run that the entire way. They're gonna have to run it up the wall, from what I understand, and then out to the outside of the building. And they case it.
So we got a motion then to get out the lights up to the full, the 3, especially the 3 that needs to be our primary concern for safety. Then the other 2, takes an option.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'll go with that. You get a decent price.
Those are halogen lights now. Those are halogen lights now.
Okay, that was the motion. Everybody's heard it, everybody? Any more discussion? All right, all in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, 7E, consider approval of budget amendment for strategic goal to move Christmas lights and banner equipment to new power poles.
So this one's a little more straightforward. We pretty much have to do it, but it's for strategic goal to remove the banner hookups and the Christmas light hookups from the old poles that are having the lines taken off of them, put onto the new ones. Then eventually the old poles will be removed out of the ground. DOT is working on that now. So this is just to have them move everything in terms of bracket and hardware from the existing poles that are going to be removed to the new poles. And they've done all of our other, they're the ones who put them up, take them down each year.
These will make that, but you gonna they're gonna take over down, they better move, somebody better move.
Yeah.
Cause I don't have to buy them again, but we don't want that one.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the Christmas lights and outlet brackets.
All in favor? Thank you. 7F, consider approval of budget amendment to reflect Flock Group Incorporated service in current year.
Rick may want to touch on this a little bit more than me, but we're being told that because we paid for it all in last year's budget, but it's something we've incurred this year, we have to have it reflected in the budget as a contract item. So even though we've already expended the funds, they're already there, we need it shown up in the budget for the audit that comes at the end of the year. So you're not incurring any additional costs, if that makes sense.
I'll make a motion.
All right, all in favor? Thank you. All right. G, consider approval of amendment to the agreement with Calley and Smith Architecture for the new Hildebran Tower, AE Services, Breezeway Connector, and approval of budget amendment.
This is also not something that we haven't talked about, but we need to formalize it with Calley and Smith. We initially contracted with them at $20,000 to design the new tower. Then we asked them to add on the breezeway. The breezeway was an additional $10,000. This is just a reflection in the contract that we asked them to do that. No additional expenditures, but we do need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment,
And the budget amendment.
budget amendment.
All in favor? Thank you. Now, H, all right, we put in the uniform guidance, but you have that, was on your table when you got here.
Yes, so as part of our grant for the auditorium, the Rural Transformation Grant Fund, that is American Rescue Plan Act money, that's federal money. One of the requirements for that grant is anytime you use federal funds, you have to follow uniform guidance. We've been asked to submit our uniform guidance policy to the Department of Commerce by August 31st, and that was asked of me this morning at 7 o'clock. So I figured we had better do that fairly quickly. Now, it's something we've worked on for the last couple of weeks, so we were ready in terms of having the document ready. However, we do need council to approve it so that we can turn that in. And this will be guidance we do have to follow throughout the execution of the Rural Transformation Grant. Just as a heads up, that will be something Rick and I, and then whoever ends up being the eventual architect, most likely Mr. Alam Bond, he will have to follow that with the contractor, any subcontractors. There's a lot of language that applies to both him, us, and them. So, but we do have to have it as a prerequisite to even execute the contract. So staff does recommend approval, and we do need a motion and a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, August facilities report. That's in your packet. I don't know if there's any comment on that. July tax report. That's in your packet. Deputy report. That's there also. We got Gary here to answer any questions.
Yes, I can speak with you after the meeting, to elaborate on some of the things that you were talking about. A lot of our hands as a town are tied because of DOT right away. So with bridges, property owned by them, as far as the grounds around it, that's theirs too. Homeless, it's not going away, it's here to stay. We don't have any shelters other than one women's shelter in Morganton. We don't have anything in the east. The nearest one is in Hickory at Elmore Boulevard. We have the Red Cross and a women's shelter down there. The problem is they don't have enough beds to go around. You have to pass a drug test to get in. And the additional problem to the homeless is we can't get anybody to understand. We can't get people to understand that if you continue to give to them, they won't leave. We have 2 churches in the area that provide more food and clothing to them twice a week than I personally buy for my family once a week at the grocery store. So that hurts us. The other thing is when we have properties that they're locating on, we can't get the cooperation from the citizens to trespass because they don't want to do that.
When you say you don't own around the bridge, I can remember when you guys did the, like, I don't know what you would call
Parts
it,
of the-
beautification
Well, parts
of
of
the
the
bushes and
landscaping,
stuff.
bushes.
Those bushes are hideouts. It's
You know,
creating a barrier for them.
I agree with you. Now,
And
if
my understanding is they even found people, didn't somebody die in the bushes by Hardy?
That's interstate right away. It's not Hildebran.
Okay, but I mean, I'm talking about, I remember we didn't have those.
I was there. I
bushes.
know. Yeah.
So it's, I understand there's certain limitations.
Right.
What's going on with patrol? Like, we used to have a designated sheriff's office right here.
We still do.
I-
did.
You're in, you spent your whole time here?
One.
Yes.
No,
I
no.
like,
My office is the car outside. That's my
Yeah.
office. So 100 hours every 2 weeks, I'm patrolling. I'm
You're
out
here.
I'm out in the public.
I still feel like with what's going on, it needs
Now,
to be
we
more.
still have 2 deputies in the east per shift,
Mhm.
but this is my area. They help when I'm not working.
You could
I can't-
probably have 100 tops, but until you have cooperation, until you have people who aren't
We,
providing the.
we have responsibilities as citizens too. And it's just like larcenies. 90% of the larcenies can be prevented by citizens' responsibility.
Well, and it's not just Hildebran, that's another thing that needs to be pointed out.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
Western Piedmont Council of Governments has hired one position, and I think they're hiring a second to address homelessness in the entire region.
They have a deputy or a city cop full-time at the library in Morganton just to deal with the homeless. Because they enlist us to go from down here to Morganton to patrol the library. So it's a situation in this country that's, I have no
It's
answer for it.
nationwide.
Yeah, it's nationwide. You go to Hickory, Elmore Boulevard, Tank Boulevard, Robson Road, any of those thoroughfares that are around food, money, panhandling,
High
Now,
traffic intersections.
yeah, high traffic intersections. We do have a general statute. Well, there's no panhandling. If we find somebody panhandling, then we can arrest them. But they know that. They know the limitations because they play in the game.
Yeah,
So it's tough. It really is. I'm
What
not
makes it
kidding.
interesting is we're not Hickory. We do not have that population. We do not have
Not where
the
the-
stores to support that. We do
Right.
not have where they can go to the
You're wrong
bathroom.
there. We do have the stores. We have locations on the interstate where they frequent. We do have the overflow from Rhodhiss, Granite Falls, and Hickory. When they kick someone out, for instance, in Hickory, first thing they're gonna do is look for the closest location,
Which is us.
which is us. So it's a constant battle. We deal with that every day. Don't think we don't, because we do.
Oh, no, I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
I just feel like there needs to be more steps. I just don't know what they are.
Right.
That's why I'm addressing them.
Right.
So I feel like there is certainly more. I mean, at the Lutheran church, I have a picture of the lady in her parking lot. Was it last week, moaning and groaning? And my dog
there
was
again.
freaking, like she was tweaking on something. I was like, what's going on?
And I know her by name. I know where her mother lives. Mother won't let her come home. Smoke a cook.
I mean, but what, at
Well, I
what
know who
point
this
is she, is
Yeah.
that trespassing on
do.
that property as a church? I would say
Right.
probably not.
Right, until you can get that property owner to say,
Now, they cross my yard, I will say it,
understand.
because I've yelled at them to get out of my yard. They
Right.
cross up through,
Now, are you calling the sheriff's department?
no, because y'all think I was crazy.
No.
Calling
Okay, we
every
have
time.
committee.
And there lies another problem, is because people won't contact the sheriff's office.
I have when I saw suspicious activity going on in the dumpster across by Embark and stuff. I did,
Yes.
and you guys did come and speak
Yes.
to me and stuff, but that was like, it was like reoccurring.
Did y'all finish your
reoccurring.
discussion
Sorry.
after?
Oh, we
the meeting?
can, absolutely.
Thank you.
Listen, I just want you to understand that that's not a problem that's gonna go away overnight by no means.
I know.
So it's like,
All right, let's see, now we are to committee reports. Technical Coordinating Committee,
No update at this time.
Transportation Advisory Committee,
nothing to report.
Western Pima Council Government Policy Board,
I missed it. Unfortunately, I was in urgent care with my knee.
Burke Economic Development,
Housing continues to be an issue. They are also working on their internship program. I believe they got, it was either 8 or 13 of their interns, full-time positions, out of that program this past year. So they're looking to expand that this year with additional employers. They plan to, take the Drexel site and the Mega site in Burke County to potential developers, business owners, and several conferences in the upcoming year. And if there's anything else, I can get it to you, but that's all I have at this time.
okay, Recreation and Tourism,
That's the report.
Water Resource Committee, Vedic,
Okay, I've got two reports for you since. I've got, July report, Derek met on July the 27th at the Valley Town Hall. The minutes for June the 22nd were approved. Kerry gave the financial overview through June the 30th of profit and loss and balance sheet, which all look very good. New loan applications continue to come into the office. Betty McGinty gave an update on the delinquent loans, which there weren't very many. There were 3 new loans approved. The next meeting was August 24th at Wilmington Community House, which is the annual meeting. The annual meeting was held the 24th at the Community House. The minutes were approved for July again. The financial reports and delinquent reports were gone over. 2 new loans were approved. Lily made a presentation for the Small Business Center explaining their purpose and how they help businesses in Burke County. She also wants to list all the abandoned businesses in Hildebran, so I told her to talk to you.
Sure.
And I also told her to call the sheriff's department. Kerry gave a review of last year. Betty approved 15 total loans, 14 were in Burke County, 1 was in Catawba County, for a total of $1,489,500. Vedic has an outstanding balance. They have the loans that are out of $3,055,870. The next meeting will be September the 28th.
Burke County Library Board of Trustees, we didn't meet this month. Events Committee,
You wanna give it or you want me to?
You get it. I just gave mine.
Well, there was a lot that went on, but the first thing we did was bring up the fact that, due to the park extension for the timeline on it in terms of, completing construction, can't have a fall festival in 24 like we had planned. The committee discussed either a spring or a fall of 25 festival. Given the fact that we're asking for a 1-year extension, most likely with our grant deadline and with our contract with the Western Piedmont Council of Governments to administer it, they felt like if there were any delays or anything like that, we would be bumping up too closely to a May spring festival, given that it's expected to be completed in March. So that only gives you 2 months. They'd also have liked to have done it in early May, given the heat and the weather. So they are recommending that we push it to the second or third Friday and Saturday of September for 2025. We also discussed the Christmas parade. So they want to get started early this year. The lineup idea will not work. They are agreeable with that. That's not gonna work. We have tried that and we don't want to try that again. However, we will have the first 5 or 10 that are the majority of, like, it's going to be your elected officials, town officials, sheriff's department, possibly the band, grand marshal. We will keep a lineup for those, but the majority of the rest it'll be first come, first served in terms of the lineup.
I think you eliminate a lot of conflict if you do that. Just let them get in line after the first so many starts. Because last year everybody was arguing, I'm gonna go up there with them, I'm gonna go over here, and it was just
The other thing that was discussed is, and either of the Karens can correct me, is possibly having Bruce Long Orchestra do a chorus concert or a concert in some fashion. That would be the night before,
Not
Friday night, to kind of hop up the parade the next day. So that was another recommendation. And what am I missing?
During the parade, we thought about having certain stops where everybody would stop and the band would play something that would give the people in the back who are running to try to catch up a chance to catch up. And we have some other acts that will maybe rodeo somebody who's on the to do something. Anyway, it'll give a chance for everybody to see the band and hear the band and maybe have a DJ, some other act. You know, it'd be a little bit longer parade. The ones in the back won't have to run to catch up. We're working on it. Work in progress.
It completed 5 minutes before this meeting. But anyway, that's all we have for the events committee.
Okay, other business. Announcements.
So for announcements, we did have the live 106.9 FM have the school supplies and food giveaway on Saturday. From what we understand, they gave away 500 backpacks with school supplies for the corresponding grade. And they also gave out a combined between the two food providers, 700 meals on Saturday between 8 and 1. So that was in our opinion, a great success.
Well, as a result of a lot of hard work from, Fresh Fire Church and from 106.9 advertisements, there's a lot of people there.
I think they said that they had 60 volunteers from Fresh Fire Church. It was incredible.
I got your message, but I was working, there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it.
I think we had a good turnout. Yeah, we had a great turnout. It was great.
Okay, anybody else got anything?
We did get notice from East Burke Youth Insurance that it has been canceled. As part of the lease agreement, they're supposed to have insurance, and I believe it expires September 14th. 10th. So if there's any guidance from council at this point, we're more than open to hear it, but it is just something to be aware of.
Don't we require to have insurance?
Yeah, we do.
I think it's done.
Yes, they're done. That's my opinion.
We thought they were gonna be here tonight. They did ask to be put on the agenda tonight to present a plan. They have been in the gym the last month, but we didn't hear anything from them.
Monday morning, the lights were on in the gym when I came by. Cause I came out by your house, come around and come down to go to work. And the lights were on in the gym Monday morning.
Well, again, we've sat down and we've offered them an additional 50% rent reduction. Alice, you can kind of tell me, weren't they paying either a third or an eighth? Something. It was a significant reduction already over the 50% reduction that we give nonprofits.
Have they bothered to give you the financial statements?
No, and I went back and looked at that. I asked them in February of 2022 for financials, asked them in December of 22, and then asked them again last month. So we've been waiting 18 months for
They
financials.
answered the wrong question then. They're done.
They're done.
They don't want to file any of the rules, whatever, they're done. They don't, they said they answered it for us. That's my opinion.
I agree with you.
They ain't doing nothing for our community.
If they do request something from staff to be put on the agenda, is that just a no at this point? The other thing we advise them is if they do want to be on the agenda, they need to be like everybody else and submit their stuff a week out.
Yeah.
So that we can put it on the agenda. And they didn't do that either.
Plus, the other talking, they don't want to be here.
Probably the reason they're not here tonight. If their insurance is out, they don't wanna hear it. My thing is, they're done. I mean, they gotta abide by the rules like everybody else.
If they request to be on the agenda, and they can jump through all the hoops, then I think that they should be allowed to let them come in here and make their presentation.
Here's the other thing. So we did find out they do have a grant for $50,000 from the county, but that grant was given for their existing community center for renovations and a rate program to reopen it, not for anything to do with us. However, that money does have to be expended by April of next year. So about 6-ish months from now. That's all I have. I just want to give you the update.
Okay. Anything else?
Can we just get a consensus on if they ask to be put on the agenda? I know Jody said yes, but how does the rest?
Like I said, my feeling, they don't want to be on the agenda because they ain't answering nothing. It's gonna about the financial report.
But if they come up with it, then I don't know if I'll turn them down.
And then they miss tonight, they don't care.
Not saying.
I'm just saying, they queued up, tell us what we're here.
Things like that, that we, I don't want to come back.
I mean, it's all kind of complaints about something.
They provide financials and their insurance and stuff like that before we come back.
Okay, we got two that say if they do everything they're supposed to do, they come back. What do the other two of y'all say?
If they do what they're supposed to do, they come back and present what they want to present, then we can make a decision on it from there. But if they can't present what they're supposed to have, can't have their liability, and they can't present their financial report, they don't need to come.
Well, that's what we say.
And if they can't present it a week, if they can't do it a week before the meeting like everybody else.
Right, they need to be a week before, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Do they have any events scheduled right now?
Well, they started in October. When did they start using our early November?
They gotta come to the gym with chain doors because there's no insurance.
Well, they.
We need to communicate to them that that's a requirement once again.
The
But they knew that.
volunteer is going on right now, so, but they're not technically using the gym like they do with basketball and indoor soccer. But what we're specifically talking about is their lease, so the concession stand, the office, and the boys' locker room. So, yeah, if they can't get a new one, then I guess we were asking how you wanted us to address that with them.
We'll let them know they need to have insurance by September 10th.
Okay. All right.
So I guess it's.
All satisfied? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Anything else?
I'll make a motion with adjourn.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you.
He said, man will be by. I'm sorry. Take this out. Adios. They're not making every recording. Oh, we just.